back to doing my walks now that the horrid cold temperatures where I live are over for the winter time. It's almost springtime, starting to get warmer out. So I figure go back to doing my walks and kind of giving you advice on coding, the industry, things for juniors that are just getting involved, things that maybe they should know. And today I want to talk about red flags when you're interviewing for jobs. So I myself remember interviewing when I first tried to get my first coding job. It's pretty desperate. I would be like, I'll take anything. So when you go on these different websites out there, whether that's ZipRecruiter or Indeed, LinkedIn even. So a lot of them have you don't realize it until you do it a couple times, but they have staffing companies that you're applying to. You're not actually applying to the company itself for the job. You are instead applying to, I think it's a recruiter who then shuffles through your resume and then passes it on to the end user, the end recipient, the person that's actually looking to fill the position. And a lot of them are spammy. You'll start spamming your email for all different jobs, especially ones that you aren't qualified for. And regardless of anything, it's a big waste of your time. It's a big time suck. So I think that's one of the first things I want to get out of the way. I've been hired through ZipRecruiter and Indeed both times. So I do use them. But I will say that you have to be careful. Make sure that you're actually applying to a company, and it's a company that you want to work for. So I think that's the first kind of red flag to look for on a job posting. Second thing is watch for the interview. So when you actually do get an interview to come down and code or whatever it is that the interview is going to be, just an interview for a job, there's several things that I've learned from the different interviews I've gone on that are red flags for you to look out for. First one is, there was one time I went on an interview. It was pretty far away from where I lived, so I had to drive 2 hours or an hour and a half out of my way to go to this interview. I got to the interview expecting, a sit down, your normal interview. You go, you talk about the job, talk about your past experience, what you know, what you don't know, what the expectations of the job are, XYZ. But a lot of these companies, especially this particular one, they first maybe do an Excel test, Microsoft Word and Excel, just make sure I had basic computer skills. All right, so that's already a red flag when I'm coming in there for coding, and you're making me do Excel. It doesn't really make any sense, especially if it's a web developer or a software developer. That doesn't make any sense to me. So that was one thing. After I passed all that and I passed the interview and I passed the coding challenge, which was on a whiteboard, do you mind taking another test for us? It's basically an IQ test. I was like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Thinking, maybe it's 15, 20 questions. This test was 2 hours long. I spent 2 hours doing this IQ test. And I did well on it. It was cool because they gave me my results. So they could tell me what my IQ is and, how my brain works and all this. So it was cool. But at the same time, I already drove 2 hours to the interview. And then I passed the interview well enough that you wanted to see what my IQ was. I finished the IQ test. And then after all that, I talked to not the only guy who was interviewing, another guy who was higher. And he's like, all right, well, everything looks good. We're going to give you a coding challenge. And this was in C. He's like, yeah, this is in C. And again, he knew full well I was joking. He's like, we're going to do this in C, do this little project, and then come back next week, and we'll, finish it. I'm like, no, it's not happening. You've already wasted my time. I wasted 2 hours for me to drive, 3 hours for an interview, an IQ test. Now you want me to go home and do this coding challenge. This is So, again, I'm sure there's people that did. But if a company's treating you like that, you get go. You don't want to work for them. Okay? So, that's one red flag. The interview should be, especially coding. I could definitely see a coding challenge and maybe a couple rounds of interviews that I could totally see that too. but it shouldn't be like that was. You know, I've interviewed 5 times for tech positions. 5 times for tech positions. I've gotten offered every single job. Except, again, I don't know if you call that last one an offer I just told you about. I guess not. So 5 coding, 4 out of 5 I got offers to work there. And the interview went like this, like, gave my resume, you know, came in, talked about the job, talked about my experience, talked about, you know, just to see if I knew what I was doing. And none of the 4 that I got hired for was their coding challenge. But they did want to say my projects and things that I've done. And plenty big portfolio for that, you know, on my resume. So mostly it was kind of like that. So I don't know. Yeah, like that. It's excessive. Definitely watch out for it. Another red flag. This is an organizational thing. I've been to jobs where I've been to a particular one actually recently. This wasn't going to be to replace my full-time job. It was going to be like a part-time thing. And as soon as I got there, they go, well, we need to fill out this application. And it's like, well, I already applied online. I already gave you my my resume. Like, you already have all this stuff. And so, like, I looked at it. All the information could have been, actually probably more, could have been extracted from my resume. And instead they're making me fill this out. And the only thing that wasn't on there is my social security number, and they need that on your like formal application, so that they can pay you. But yeah, like, it's just so weird. And then so that's like, if it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing, you know, that's a red flag. So, like, again, I'm just talking about multiple ones. So in the same interview, you know, this happened at another one too. So a red flag is when someone doesn't actually take the time to interview you. So it's happened twice in the different tech interviews I've been on, where the interviewer doesn't set time aside for you to actually have an interview, right? Sure, they're busy. They're in the middle of the workday. But guess what? You're busy too. You probably have a job that you probably took the day off of. You probably put in your time off, or you took one of your days to go to this interview. And they go and they work through the entire session. People are coming in and out. And they're interrupting you when you're talking. They're like, oh, well, I'm really sorry. I just have to take care of this right now. It's like, you knew. Like in this last one, they called me. I didn't apply. They called me. And like, you knew that you had an interview. You told me the time that was going to work. I adjusted my life to come to the interview. And then you can't even take 30 minutes to interview me. Yeah, it's disrespectful. And it's I don't know, it's a waste of my time, right? So it's another red flag, right? So I was one and another one. This guy just kept taking calls. Phone ring, pick it up. It's like, dude, let it go to voicemail. We're on an interview right now. So again, another red flag. If they don't actually take the time, put a time aside for you, respect your time. It's not a company. Okay, let's see, I got a couple more. Next red flag to watch for is when they can't answer basic questions, right? You go to a job interview, and if they can't tell you how much the job pays, you get out. They should tell you how much it pays, you know? And like, I can see not posting it online, I get it, you know? They should, but I can see not posting it. But if you get to the interview, you take your time, you go through the interview, they're interested in you, and you ask, what does it pay? Like, they gotta tell you, you know, don't waste your time. I remember this one guy, I asked him, I gave him my cell phone number, and I must have asked him, and I told him straight up, I told him what I was currently making. Number one, I told him what I was currently making. And number two, I told him, you know, like I'd asked him, like, am I allowed to work remotely? You know, can I can I work remote a couple days a week? Do I have to be in the office all days? And the answer I kept getting was, we'll work all that out. You know, I'd be like, well, this is what I make. Are you gonna be able to pay me that? Oh, I'm sure we can pay you that. So a couple days went by with this guy. Texted me back and forth. He was like, all right, well, here's what we'll do. Set up a phone call, you and I. We'll hash everything out over the weekend. Give me your number, right? Stay by your phone. He took the time and he was like, all right, I'm gonna give you a call at this time and we'll figure it out. Okay, fine. Again, naivety on my part. Fine, all right, I'll take the call. The dude texts me 5 minutes after the time we're supposed to talk. And he's like, oh, well, I'm up in Buffalo, New York, which is, you know, away from me anyways. He's like, and I'm with my daughter, and I'm visiting, and I really can't talk right now, but we set something up for tomorrow. So, I basically think I'm like, hey man, listen, all due respect, I'm not interested in the job. I'm just not. You know, because if that's the interview process, that's going to be the rest of your time working here. Do you really want to deal with that? Right? So, again, before I was a coder, before I was a programmer, I spent 17 years in management and hospitality. Okay? This is not how the world works. If an employee asks you something, give them a straight answer. Okay? So, again, watch out for that when they can't answer basic questions like, you know, what are the hour requirements? What's the salary? Yada, yada, yada. Right? And I think my last point here is going to be watch out for when people purposely devalue what you do, especially when it comes to like salary negotiation, right? So one time I was on an interview, and it's actually the same one with the guy that, you know, called me over the weekend and stuff. So again, this was less than ideal of an interview. So as we were talking, you know, we kind of, the job position was posted as a web developer. And we start talking a little bit. He's like, well, you know, web development, you know, is part of it. We have sites that are up and running and maintained. He's like, you know, we really make all of our money from Google ads. So we want you to be doing Google ads a lot for companies and all that stuff. It's like, well, dude, you said you want a web developer, you know, and now you're saying you want Google ads, which is fine. I know how to do it. It's like, it's not my passion, but right, like if it was a job and the pay was good, hey. But the problem was the way he talks about the Google ads and how that's the moneymaker and how he can just go, you know, buy a theme on WordPress and, you know, do whatever it is he's got going on. He's like, oh, I just grab a WordPress theme, and yeah, sure. It's not the same thing though, man. Like, I'm a WordPress developer, but I'm not buying a theme and just putting it up there. Like, everything, it's custom plugins. You know, it's things like tracking things in the database, making tools for the customer, making a custom theme. Which again, all kind of built into the whole thing where I was like, you know, that like, it's all boiled down to the guy put it up as a job that you need to fill. Or act like it's not important. You know, so watch out for that too. Someone downplays you say, oh, I saw this in ChatGPT. It really is. It's a great tool. I've programmed this for a long time. You know. So, I don't know. Watch out for that. I'm trying to think, is there anything else for you to watch out for in your interviews? I think that's about covers it all. You know, I talked about you know, interesting questions. I talked about people that don't look prepared. Oh, last thing. Sorry, one last thing. It kind of goes along the lines of being prepared. Make sure that you ask a lot of questions, right? Ask a ton of questions. So, like this last one that I went to, not the one with the guy that like totally on my nightmare interview process. The last one I went to for like a part-time thing for me. Ask questions because, you know, I get in there and first they ask is like, do you know Excel? I'm like, kind of. You know, like I can get by. I can jump into VBA. I have a VBA program for a year, so yeah, I can do stuff in Excel. You know, and it's like that has nothing to do with what you're looking for. You're looking for someone for WordPress developer and a marketing person. So it's like, which again, two totally different things. But you know, obviously, you know, when you do it on your own, you kind of ask questions. I was like, what are you full-time, part-time? I was like, I read your, and I'm nice about it too. I read, job post. I don't know what it was looking for. I was looking for full-time. You know, whatever it is that they really want. Right? But then, like, when you start asking questions, that's how you, like, figure out how the company works, right? So, like, every one of the questions I asked is, like, are you gathering analytics to your site? Oh, I don't know. Well, how do you not know? You know, like how do you not know? Like you're hiring somebody, you know, as a marketing graphic designer, you know, kind of all-encompassing WordPress developer, which is a zillion different jobs in one, which is fine. But like, how do you not know that? You know, like simple questions like, okay, well, and I talked to the IT guy, like, what do you use in track analytics? He's I don't know. You know, we went and had a WooCommerce store, and in that the WooCommerce store, yeah, these are the products I went. I'm like, yeah, but where are the pages that people are visiting? Like, where are where are they coming from? Like, are they coming from Facebook? Are they coming from Google? Are they natural Googly? Like how, what are you doing? And they weren't. And again, they obviously needed somebody. That's why they're hiring somebody there. But it's like these simple questions will lead you to figure out like what kind of company you're working for, right? You know, like I don't know, like ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask them. You know, it's okay to be direct too. Like, you know, I was direct in the same supposed to be with, hey, oh, I don't know, we have to talk to the owner. Well, we had a job interview set up. You knew I was coming. Did you not think I was going to ask how much the job pays? Like, it's a waste of my time. Waste my time wasting your time. What are we doing? You know? So, anyways, I think I'm just rambling at this point, but you know, those are things that, you know, as a seasoned veteran in the tech industry, again, I told you, 5 or 6 tech interviews, gotten offered the job, every one except for the one, which I really didn't want anyways. You know, take what you will from that. That's what I've learned in the experience I had. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions, because it's an interview, works both ways. All right, they're interviewing you just like you're interviewing them. Okay, figure out if it's where you want to work, if they have their shit together, right? Figure out all that stuff, because it's important. And I know as a junior, just trying to get a job, you're pretty much going to take anything that you get. All right, but at least try to ask these questions. It'll do you very good service in the long run. So anyways, that's my take for today. This is Eric Codes. Again, if you enjoy the video, like, subscribe. I also have a podcast. It's the PH Podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts. You can also go to my website, dev.erainer.website. All right, take it easy. Talk to you